Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Brought to you by Junk Be Gone and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Paper Be Gone studios for today's version of the Sports Source, today's edition of the Sports Source. We'll be talking plenty of UT basketball with the big win yesterday. We got some UT football toward the end of the show, and in the middle we're going to do a lot. I've been wanting to do this and waiting to do it till we had the right mix of people here, because I know I wanted some guys who had strong opinions on the NIL stuff, and certainly made news this week as Tennessee thought they had a commitment from someone, and then he winds up flipping and going to Texas, and each side says, no, the other guy was paying more. Fun stuff. So let's discuss the NIL today. We're going to spend a lot of time on name, image, likeness money and what that means for the future of sports. Let's dive right in. First segment of our program is brought to you by Junk Be Gone. Winter will soon be over, and it will be spring cleaning time. Make it easy on yourself this year. Order a driveway dumpster from Junk Be Gone, or have one of their two-person teams come by and actually load up the dumpster for you. When you need junk and garbage removed, trust Junk Be Gone. They do it. They've done it. Everybody who uses them loves them. I know I love them. I use them every year. Junk Be Gone, junkbegone.biz to see what they can do for your home or your office for that matter. Junk Be Gone. All right, let's welcome in today's panelists. We have Mark Pankratz right here, former Division I basketball player at Milwaukee, former assistant basketball coach under Bruce Pearl and Conzo Martin here at Tennessee. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Back with us from The Athletic, we have David Ubben. David, thanks for returning.
Appreciate it.
Our returning champion. Down there we have from 990, that would be, well, that's the way I always say it. Every time I say 990, because I'm an old man, they always wrap me over the knuckles and say, no, it's 99.1 The Sports Animal. Vince Ferrari, no matter which numbers you find on the dial, he'll be there. Vince, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, sir.
And down there, Chuck Cavaleris, longtime sports writer, longtime man about town. Man About Town. There we go. All right. 2 weeks ago, Tennessee lacked toughness in a loss at LSU. It was the end of the world. It was horrible. It was just gnashing of teeth, wailing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 2 weeks later, wow, they're tough, and they beat LSU, and it's the greatest win in the world. Welcome to college basketball. This was a good win last night. Beat the number 13 team in the country, one of the top defensive teams in the country, and most importantly, they flipped the toughness switch. They went down and got pushed around at Baton Rouge a couple of weeks ago. Last night, that was not the case. Uros Plavsic, who we'll talk about in this first segment, he said after the game that LSU wanted to win the fight. We wanted to win the basketball game. And actually, we won both. It's a great quote. It's a great quote. But LSU's now lost 3 games in a row. Let's go ahead and put up last night's box score for the Vols if we're going to look at the numbers. LSU's now lost 3 games in a row, but still, that was their lowest offensive output of the season, 50 points. Santiago Vescovi led the Vols with 16 points. He's always Mr. Effort. Kennedy Chandler had 6 assists, but it was the defense and Uros Plavsic who stole the show in this one. Reactions to the victory, Mark Pankratz.
It starts with Uros, obviously, the toughness, and had some good finishes, and he's been impacting the game in multiple ways besides the toughness. Just looks like a different player with his confidence. Vescovi knocking down jump shots. Kennedy Chandler having, I think, 6 assists, 1 turnover was a big difference. Some of the turnovers that made you scratch your head that led to fast break opportunities, both in the LSU game at their place and then in the Kentucky game, was a huge difference. And the team did a better job of handling their length against LSU yesterday. But Vescovi continues to be the consistent guy night in and night out for the Vols, and him knocking down early 3-pointers, his leadership and kind of not letting them get over their skis with too many 3-point attempts and playing inside out was key down the stretch.
We talked about the fact that Rick Barnes was a little more positive after last weekend's loss to Kentucky than he sometimes is after postgame. We know that the rap on this team, he was really hard on him coming out of LSU. They didn't show the toughness. The fact that they did show the toughness last night, does that suggest that Barnes still has a good handle on this team and what he needs to say to keep them motivated at the right time? Because clearly nobody checked out. They went from not tough to tough, which is what he wanted. Thoughts on that reaction, their reaction, and whether or not he still knows exactly which buttons to push with this bunch?
I think he knows the buttons to push, but I also think that there are more buttons that he's going to need to push that maybe haven't surfaced as of yet, and that this is by far nothing close to a finished product. I think you're still going to see evolutions of this team as the season goes on. But yes, it was a positive that he was able to reach them, even though honestly a lot of us, wondered how that was going to happen, because you had other learning experiences you thought should have happened prior to that wake-up call at Kentucky.
And for Tennessee, I think it's always easier to show toughness when you can set up your half-court defense, because that's what you really, you really depend on. And I think that's one thing Tennessee was able to do. Don't forget LSU was out without Xavier Pinson,
Right.
their starting point guard, and Tennessee had no answer for him at Baton Rouge. But yeah, I mean, I think that was a key part of that. But boy, I saw a great start, and then it got just a little chippy.
Yeah. Well, it's also easier to show toughness when the crowd that's screaming is screaming for you and not against you. I mean, teams tend, when you don't look tough, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be in a road environment when everybody's on you, as opposed to being at home when they're on the opponent.
And to that point, John, aren't you 10-0 at home now, I believe?
Yeah. So Plavsic, 28 minutes, 5 of 7 for 12 points, 6 rebounds, and a block. I didn't see that coming.
He's taken minutes away, not just from John Fulkerson, but Olivia Kamwa as well. I mean, both of those guys are in the 14, 15-minute range. Plavsic was above that, and obviously we're getting to see a little bit more Brandon Huntley Hatfield, which I think is a positive. And we saw BHH and Plavsic on the court together. I thought they were a decent post combo.
David, thoughts?
I mean, I think with this team, ultimately, whether it's yesterday or you're looking for that consistency, you got to force that 6-minute scoring drought. It's coming at some point. And when Tennessee has them, it kills your game. And you saw them open the game with that yesterday against LSU. You get off to a start like that. Ultimately, the way this team plays, the way college basketball is right now, somebody is going 5 minutes without scoring. And if you can do that with defensive effort to make sure it's your squad or not your squad and you force it, I mean, you're going to help your odds. And as they say, defense travels. And Tennessee, when they can play that consistent defense, and like Chuck said, getting your half-court sets, slow it down a little bit, they tend to look a little bit better.
Well, the thing is, we made jump shots, right? We talk about we're over 35%, so we're better likelihood to win that basketball game. The key is that we still have to, knock down free throws. 55% from the free throw line yesterday.
For a team that doesn't get to the line a lot to begin with, you better hit them when you do get there.
Yeah, and then inside out, we've got to. The scoring droughts come because all of a sudden we go and just miss open three-point. We're getting open shots, but we're not consistently making them. So that is when Kennedy Chandler has to continue to attack the rim. He got to the rim a couple times and got some layups, which is key. Didn't shoot great from the field yesterday, but the inside out, that is going to alleviate some of those scoring droughts that when other teams, because every team does have a scoring drought, if we can just knock in just a couple points because we're playing inside out or get to the free throw line and stop their momentum, that keeps us hanging in there until we can make those perimeter jump shots. And when we've got a chance to beat anybody because our defense keeps us there.
Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in one of those little mini droughts, Tennessee had an offensive drought about 5 minutes late in the first half that allowed LSU to come back. And then Tennessee, after they got out to the 14-0 lead, they kind of slowed down a little bit. LSU was creeping back in. Tennessee had 13 consecutive shots that were three-pointers. 13 consecutive before Kennedy Chandler was able to have that beautiful drive, one of 3 that he had in the game, to get to the rim. And then they started playing more inside out, like Mark mentioned. Sometimes, and Barnes mentioned it too, they get, especially with the crowd at home, they get like too emotional, like, I got to pop the crowd again. And maybe take too many of those three-pointers instead of continuing to attack.
But that's where if you don't have leadership on the court to recognize that before you shoot 13 in a row, you've got to call a play to get the ball inside. And if it's Euros because he can post up and he's that big, even if you get a miss, at least you're starting to work inside out. And that's where we don't do it. We just allow our perimeter players to just kind of run with it and run their motion. We need to call a set to get the ball inside or get the ball to the free throw line.
It's like that old Dame Bradshaw line. There's a reason you were that wide open for that shot. And one thing real quick about Euros, I would say through the Rick Barnes years, how many times have we heard how much this player improved?
Right.
Or how much that player improved? With Euros, I notice as much with his footwork as anything and how he can come out and not just have to stay close to the bucket. So I think you got to give a lot of credit for him. There's obviously been a lot of hard work that's gone into this.
And look, he played a good game yesterday. I thought, there are times when you see things happen in a basketball, and you feel in a basketball game or a football game, college sports, you feel good for the player. Watching him strut around the court last night like he just won the SummerSlam event and he had the belt in his hand. Okay, that was cool. He tweeted a picture of himself as the Tiger King last night. Cool, I think that's great. I was happy for him. I had somebody, though, that sent me a note. It's like, what do you think of him now? Because we were critical last week. Well, I think I saw potential there. Now we know what he can do. Let's see it on a consistent basis. That's what I think. I think, great. Let's see more of it. Where's that been? How about more of it? He did a great job. Credit to him. But it takes more than one game. And I think this is true for the team, too. I know your take, Vince, because I could judge it from what you said earlier. They've won 3 out of 4. So buy or sell, this team is improving. Because I'm going to sell, I just know that basketball is a series of this. I'm not buying that, all the ills are fixed. We'll see what happens this week. I'm not buying that they've arrived or they're improving. I need to see more than what I saw. Buy or sell that they're improving quickly.
Buy that they're improving.
You think they are improving?
I'm with you. I think they're going to be all over the map, and we'll see. You got to be peaking in March.
Vince?
I'll sell for right now. I just want to see it for a longer period of time. They did snap that losing streak against Will Wade. Team was giving a lot of trouble.
They're improving as long as the three-point shots are falling.
So, I'm surprised that you say they're improving. I'll give you 30 seconds to explain why you think, because last Sunday we wouldn't have said they're improving.
Well, I think they've cut the rotation. Victor Bailey didn't play. I think they're starting to figure out minute-wise, which then sees where I see it as improvement.
Fulkerson's got a new role.
Yeah, and I think their identity is starting to take shape.
Very good. All right. We'll debate this next Sunday. We'll see who was right and who was wrong. We'll know for sure next Sunday. All right. Is the Tennessee basketball program, not the team, is the program moving forward? They got the win yesterday. That's great. But let's look at the big picture. There were a lot of gripes going in yesterday. Too many gripes? Not enough gripes? Gripes legit? Let's discuss next. Come on back on the Sports Source.